the stage. Hey, Mia.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay, so let us know. How was your experience living in Charlotte?
I love Charlotte. Like I said, a while ago, I loved it. It was just the whole point. They're not paying equivalent, to what you're worth, and that's why I said I have a master's. And you're not going to pay me a high school diploma salary or a associate salary. No, I can see if I didn't have the credentials, and you're paying me that. You naturally can't be picky when you don't have the credentials.
Right.
Mhm.
So did you move to Charlotte already like knowing how much you were gonna get paid?
No, actually, I didn't. As far as it was more like, on a whim. I'm like, okay, a day I just want to try something new. But naturally, they like I'm in Cincinnati, when you have a degree, you stand out. So it's not a lot of people, I would say, on average, that have bachelor's, master's, or doctors. So you could pick what you want in my city. And that's what I'm used to.
Okay, so when you moved, what year did you move again?
That was 2022. I had to think about it.
Okay, so you moved after the pandemic. Okay, and was your rent like? Would you say your rent was expensive?
Yes, it was 1636
Woo!
for a one bedroom, and I lived the Montfort area
Mm-hmm.
right there. That's where I lived.
You live like by Emerson and Mountford?
Yes, Montfort, like close to Dilworth.
Oh, 1600? Wow.
Yes, and it was only like 630 some square footage.
Mm. Okay. How long did you stay there? Because I can't hear you. You're muted.
It was only I stayed there like a little bit. I would say close to a year and a half.
Mm. So then what made you finally feel like, okay, I gotta move?
It was more as far as that it was like an insult what they was trying to pay me. And naturally, when you go to college, you worked hard for your education, so you expect more. But like I said, I love Charlotte. It was just the pay, and I met a lot of people. Like just being out on the scene, because I was on the scene heavy when I was there, and a lot of people
Okay.
a lot of people was, they all said they had degrees and nobody was paying them their amount that they was worth. And they was all like from all over, and everybody was saying they was leaving. They said it's not worth it.
Really?
So I met a lot of people in my same situation that had degrees. They said it's no way. They said they're leaving. And a lot of people did leave.
So did you see a trend of where people left to, or do you feel like a lot of people went back to where they came from?
They said, as far as I've heard, Houston, Texas. I remember quite a bit of people said they was moving to Houston, Texas.
How you put it up? H. I don't want to start putting up the gang signs. H time.
Yeah, a lot of people said that because they heard always good things about Houston, Texas. And of course, I was mean, a lot of blacks too. So everybody was saying that, even the people from like my city, they're moving to Houston, and they say everybody comes up. Anywhere else, good luck.
So what made you decide to go back to your city versus trying Houston or try another city?
Houston is too hot for me. It is too hot, and I don't like hot weather to that extent. It's too hot for me.
So you prefer that Midwest cold?
Yes, I would take that over 100 some degrees. I don't like to sweat.
No, because many people feel like Mia. Many people feel like her.
That Midwest cold today, one day it's 30 degrees, next day it's 60 degrees. Woo! But I get it. Some people are really heat adverse. But I'm telling you, in Houston, they got fans. You don't even feel like it's hot. I'm telling you. You could wear turtlenecks in the summer. That's how high the AC is everywhere. But I get it, I understand some people really just don't like the heat.
So Mia, if they were to pay you more, do you feel like you'd still be in Charlotte?
Oh my God, yes. I loved it. I mean, I met so many people there. I still talk to them. That's gonna be like my permanent vacation spot. Like, I love Charlotte. I have nothing bad to say about it. Nothing. Except for the pay.
And what field are you in?
I'm in education. So I just switched over to mental health. So I was an administrator with education.
Okay, and that's the thing. In general, North Carolina school systems are not that good. So you think that's part of it? Why they don't pay as well?
I don't know. Even as far as like with my degree, which I have a master's in higher ed too, I can switch over to the colleges. So it's not like I have to stay within K through 12. No, I could switch over to the colleges too. But they was paying like chump change. And I'm like, no. Like, especially I'm looking at it. If you charge it close to 2,000 of rent, you cannot be making no 50 or 60,000.
Right.
It's impossible. Like, you're not gonna have money to save,
The math is
etc.
the mathing.
Right. Versus if you're making, I'll just do an example. If you make it 50, 60, or 70,000 in my city and you paying 8, 9, or $1,000, your money's gonna go way further.
Right. Whoa,
And you in a good neighborhood too
a
in my city.
$1,000 rent, I will cry for that. $1,000 rent? Oh my
I do
God.
some things for that.
And you're saying that these are like safe neighborhoods where you can get $800, $900 rent?
Yes, like it is very like stuff have went up. Don't get me wrong. Like so, right now you're around 1,000, but they're in good neighborhoods. Like they're not in no bad neighborhood. So it's totally different in my city. It's totally different. So $1,000, like you around all professionals, like professionals, no kids, nothing. Like it's all professionals living where you live.
I need to look into Cincinnati. I don't know. Because even people go like Texas, Texas, but then even when you look at the rent prices in Texas, they're not cheap.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know that.
They're not cheap cities. They're not cheap at all. So it's like, do you move there and still end up having the same issue, or do you have to just suck it up and move in the outskirts? But at least you'll say, okay, in Texas, at least I'm not getting a state tax. So even if I paid the same I'm paying in Charlotte, I'll still see more. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Mia had mentioned a comment like, oh, and then I think you're eventually going to end up in Houston with Ngozi. I'm not going to lie. I've been thinking about it recently just because like my lease ends in February and I kind of feel like I don't hate Charlotte. I don't dislike it. I like it. But if I'm not getting everything I want, what am I doing here?
Like, the longer you stay somewhere, the harder it is to leave, whether you like it or not. That's just the truth. So I just feel like you've been in Charlotte long enough to know, like, yeah, this is it. Nowhere's perfect. Yes, it's not like you're someone that some people go somewhere for 6 months, they don't even really give it a chance, and they just run away and say, "Oh, this isn't for me." But I feel like you've been there long enough to be like, let me try something new, right? And I just feel like that the point I'm making that the older you get, period, the harder it is to move. That's just true. The longer you stay somewhere, the harder it is to move because you get so comfortable. You have your community, you have your people. And I always say, worst comes to worst, you go somewhere you don't like, you can go back to where you came from.
Who wants to keep doing that? The older you get, you don't want to keep moving, bouncing around from city to city, bouncing here, bouncing there. That's what you do. I feel like kind of in your 20s. So I feel like it does come to a point that like someone like Charlotte, even though I'm not like crazy about it,
You don't hate it.
right, I'm okay. So it's like for me to get up and move and go to a different state. You're not even telling me to move down to a different part of North Carolina. You're not even telling me to move to another apartment. To go to another, like that's a lot.
Marissa's telling you to go to Dallas. Let's not bring Dallas into it. And then I talk about Dallas because then I just went to Dallas recently. The thing I say all the time, I said this before, Dallas reminds me of Charlotte low-key. From even the weather, the pace. Dallas is of course bigger. It's a bigger city, more populated, but I see a lot of similarities in Dallas and Charlotte. Dallas is chill and it's cool, but I say all the time, Dallas is more for families, in my opinion. And I feel like when I think about the issue I have with Charlotte about the professional Black scene, I feel like it's kind of the same. Let me not speak too much because I haven't lived in Dallas, right? But I just feel as if every time I go to Dallas, I'm just like, I can't see myself living here. Every time.
Why?
It's so spread out. It's so big. Like people think Houston is big. Because remember, Fort Worth is, I think, the number 7 largest city in America. Dallas and Fort Worth are like 45 minutes from each other. So technically, that whole area, DFW, is Dallas Fort Worth Airport. What is that? One of the biggest airports in the world. That whole area, there's so many suburbs. It's like how people say they live in Houston, but they live in Conroe or they live in Katy. That whole area is so big. A lot of people don't really live in Dallas, like the Dallas suburb. It's just so big. It's so spread out. And I just feel like they don't have it's not Houston. Let me just keep it at that. It's not Houston. And maybe some people don't want the Houston. So
Right. So thank you for joining me. Do you feel like you're gonna stay in Cincinnati, or do you see yourself going somewhere else?
I don't know. Like, my thing is that, got a, good job. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to take that chance, take that chance again. That's the only thing. Like, Cincinnati is not bad. Like, and I'm just used to it, of course, but it's a lot of blacks here. I mean, Cincinnati is known for being very, like, it's quite a bit of blacks in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? It's just the only thing versus Charlotte that I met is more educated blacks in Charlotte.
Because I was about to say, because you're the one that says it's hard to find a guy that doesn't have kids, right?
Yes, that's the only thing. Like, in Cincinnati, yes, like, you more stand out. If you a woman or a man with a degree, you stand out, and there's a lot of hate that come with it in my city. It's a lot of hate because it's so different. So that's the only thing versus Charlotte. I met very positive black people. And I met a lot of people, with no kids and everything, like really doing anything. But like I said, I was on the scene a lot too. So I met a lot of people.
Where did you used to go, me? I'm curious. Where did you used to go?
So Noda. I used to go to Noda.
You've been telling me to go to Noda and you still haven't explored it.
Noda 101. Where else did you used to go?
I went to what's that by Carowinds? Oh, that bar right there by the amusement park. I forgot the name of it. That's a black bar.
Well, I think I've heard of it. It's like they don't serve food.
No, they do. They do.
No, that's not it.
Yeah, they actually do. That's where I was. And then, like, when I would go to the park, in Uptown, meet people. So that's why I said I really didn't have a bad experience. I can't say nothing negative about Charlotte. I really can't. It was just
food to you,
the pay. Huh?
How about the food? The food wasn't an issue for you?
Oh, well, but I guess that'll count. You know what I'm saying? For me, like, the food is like whatever. But that's it. I mean, I think anybody should give Charlotte a chance. I really do believe that. Like, give it a chance.
No, I agree with you, Mia. That's why I'm saying with Ngozi, like, when we talk about having a professional scene for people of color, I think the people are here. We just don't have the spaces. I think that's what it is. I don't think is that there's not that young professional scene here. I don't believe that. I just feel like there's not the spaces for us. Like, there's not, like, we don't have those type of, like, Black Health Connect just came to Charlotte a few weeks ago. Like we don't have a lot of those type of stuff going on. We don't have a lot of networking events. We don't have a lot of stuff that, like, bring people together. I think that's the issue with a city like Charlotte, but I don't believe that the people are not here. I think it's just we don't see each other. We don't see each other.
That's true. And then two of the guys I met, one was actually from Charlotte, and he was an entrepreneur, had his thing going on. And then another one I met was from South Carolina. So that made a difference that I met guys that was from those areas. So when it comes to certain spots or where to go, like, what I'm saying, during that weekend, it was totally different too.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, for joining. Mark the Spark TV on point. And you want to read his
I moved from Charlotte to Dallas last year. It's literally the same as Charlotte with hotter summers and a little better food. Interesting. What made you move? I'm curious. So James says Greensboro has Winston-Salem's affordable because people are moving there. Facts.
Supply and demand.
I might have to look into that. I need my $1,000 rent. Look into Greensboro, Winston-Salem. Maybe it's so boring there. The guys will settle down because ain't nothing else to do. He said, I'll be 37 in June. They say Midwest cheapest in the US. Really? Mia said, I hear that a lot about Meg Thee Stallion. Yeah, I love Mia's voice. Chris said, I was just in Dallas. I think I prefer Houston more, but I hate that heat, and both have bad traffic. Dallas highways seem more confusing to me.
Yeah, they are more confusing.
Juke said, my sister is a special ed teacher. She makes $115,000 a year at North Shore High School on the east side of Houston. Nice. So it seems like Houston pay. That's what it's looking like. Nobody said, if you are settling in a relationship, Charlotte is nice. But if you're single, no.
It's good for single men because there's a lot of women. That's what I always say. Just when that guy called in one time, I was like, you single? He said, I'm looking for a girlfriend. I'm trying to move to Charlotte. I said, yeah, you're going to find him.
You're going to find him. Go to Crave. See a bunch of girls in there. Go anywhere, honestly, in Charlotte. See a bunch of girls.
That's another observation from Charlotte. You don't see men. women everywhere.
Women. I think it depends on where you go, but yeah, this is a good conversation so far. So we talked about the real reason why people are leaving Charlotte, North Carolina, and I just think, to sum it up, it's just not a good fit for some people. And that's anywhere. You'll see people that leave Houston. You'll see people that leave Dallas. You'll see people that leave Miami, people that leave DC, people that leave New Jersey. Like sometimes you go somewhere, you just realize, that's not it. It's not what I want. It's not what I know. For me personally, a lot of people I know, they have Nigerian descent. And I can understand them not liking Charlotte because it's not a big Nigerian scene here. So I think that's something sometimes people also gravitate to where they're going to see more of their people. So that's why a lot of people move to different cities, or even if those places are not that special, it's like they have that community there. Charlotte doesn't really have that much community for young Africans, right? Like we're not, like there's not much going on. And again, I'm not saying that people are not here. Same way I feel about with the professional scene. I feel like the people are here. It's just they don't come together. There's nothing that's bringing us together. There's nothing that's bringing us together. So we feel like, oh, no one's here, but there's a bunch of people who are just sitting in their house. You don't see them. They're here, but like they're not parading around the street. They're here. I feel like versus places like Atlanta and Houston, just they have a lot that draws people out. They have a lot going on that's going to bring people out the house. So I think Guzzy made a point earlier that there's a lot of events that